If this episode doesn't pull down the biggest stream we've ever had, I don't know what will. Let's talk about getting skinny tonight, okay? What's so funny?
Oh, okay. The Christian Principles Podcast is brought to you in partnership with the Herzog Foundation. But bear in mind, the views and opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and not necessarily of the Herzog Foundation. Welcome to the Christian Principles Podcast. I'm Matt George.
And I'm Mark Zockoll, and I'm a recovering fat person. I don't know what to say, okay? I'll complete honesty from the start. When I got to college, the college I transferred to, I played football, had a good time. The food was better, enjoyed myself. I'm sure I packed on pounds, but I was also extremely active. When I left school, though, and in that first couple of years away, the high water mark of my life was, I think it was either 268 or 272. So I'm 6'4". I was 268 or 272. And I, praise God, was able to lose over the course of 4 or 5, maybe 6 months. I lost weight down to 225, 230, and probably 220 would have been the goal. And since that time, since those couple years removed from college, it's been a journey back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So I by no means mean to offend anybody this evening, but you know where you are in your healthy walk. We are going to talk tonight about being a Christian school principal and staying healthy, but we're going to talk about weight more so than we're going to talk about some of the other things. Now, the other things are going to be involved with the weight, but we're going to focus on food, weight, workouts, things like that. Matt, you've been laughing since. Are you laughing at me? Are you laughing with me? What's the problem tonight, Matt?
I am just kind of dreading where this conversation is going to end up.
Nothing is off limits. Nothing is off limits. We said that to ourselves when we first got started.
I know.
So we need to,
I know. And this
I know. I get
this
it.
Is honestly this is honestly one of those topics that from the beginning, I was like,
yeah,
administrators need to be told you got to be healthy. you got to think of yourself sometimes.
We think about what we would add back into the education of an undergraduate who attends the Zockoll Teacher College or the Matt's School of Excellence for Professional Educators.
I wouldn't say George. I would say Matt School.
Matt's, Matt exactly. School, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Just whatever, the longest name possible for your .com email address. When we set that up, we've talked about perhaps doubling the time teachers spend in classrooms and chopping out like general core, which I hate doing because I'm a liberal arts kind of guy. Matt's a lot of different kinds of guys. I'm a liberal arts kind of guy. So I would celebrate being the Renaissance man, which I think Matt has said he's a Renaissance guy from before, but I would celebrate that. And I would not want to lose it. I would hate to lose that. But at the same time, if I was having to, offer the exchange, something for something, there might be, as much as I would want to say, okay, we're doubling the amount of field work the students are doing. They're just, whatever it costs, it doesn't matter. We are doubling their field work. So those students don't wash out in their first year. One of those other add tos would be there's going to be a health class. Now, again, that's tough because I know that in many institutions, part of their general core is some kind of PE class, right? It's some sort of better living PE class, but healthy living for the principal, something like that.
I like to call it physical stewardship.
Now, on the previous episode, we made this point of self-care, and when I hear self-care, I do a little bit of a little cringe moment, I'm raised to be growing up in the Christian home, Bible believing home, you are to be selfless. You drop yourself off at the door. And this is not any kind of pejor this is not any kind of I have an issue with that. No, I need to celebrate that. I need to make sure that I am putting myself where I deserve to be. Because J is for Jesus, for he stands first place. O is for others you meet face to face. Y is for you and whatever you do. Put yourself third and spell joy. This has been
Love
my
it.
Mr. Rogers moment,
I
by the
was
way.
just gonna say, wow. I didn't know we were inviting the big Raj on the show tonight.
The best thing that Pittsburgh ever put out was Mr. Rogers, by the way.
I really can't argue with you, honestly, on that one. I take
Easily.
great pride in that,
Yes.
Mr. Fred.
So I hear self-care. We hear self-care, and it's like I don't want to be okay with it.
Hey, let's stick on Fred for a second
Sure.
because one of the most things he was known for. I don't know if you are aware of this or not, but was his body weight. He
Well, it
kept
makes
at a
sense, yeah.
very specific number.
Oh, I
You
didn't
know
know
that?
that. I didn't
You
know
know what the
that,
number
no.
is?
No.
He made sure he was always 143 pounds. You know
Wow.
why he wanted to be 143 pounds?
'Cause he weighed less than his wife? I don't know. That's a
I mean,
that's
that's
a small
probably
weight.
probably true. Because when you spell out "I love you," it's 143.
143.
That was
Okay.
just for whatever reason. That's what he just said. You know what? I like that. But anyway, we are focusing in on that. We have a tendency to, as you were saying, not put ourselves first.
Yeah,
And
sure.
we tend to just say, well, I've got to spend the time in the office. I've got to,
Mhm.
do all these other things. And lunch, not important. Breakfast, not important.
Yeah.
Midnight,
Yeah.
gouging myself with all this kind of food. Like, yes,
Mhm.
that's what tends to happen. And it is very easy to make it a sedentary lifestyle
Yes. Yes.
for
Absolutely.
for us.
Yeah.
So we've got to be careful.
So we're going to talk about that tonight. Before we keep going, we do want to hear from the Herzog Foundation, who I haven't heard them put out anything to do with healthy lifestyle for their, the administrators, the teachers that come and make a part of what they make a part of their professional development, the Herzog Foundation, but maybe they will after this evening. So without further ado, the Herzog Foundation.
This episode is sponsored by the Herzog Foundation, a powerful partner in equipping Christian school leaders like you. If you're looking to sharpen your leadership and renew your vision, don't miss the Herzog Foundation Institute, a multi-day in-person training experience for Christian school principals and administrators. Held at their state-of-the-art facility in Missouri, as well as all over the country, each cohort dives deep into leadership development, school culture, and mission clarity, all through a biblical lens. You'll grow alongside fellow leaders who understand the challenges and calling of Christian education. And here's the best part: the training, lodging, and meals are completely free. All you have to do is get yourself there. Visit herzogfoundation.com to see upcoming sessions and apply today. It's not just leadership training, it's kingdom work. And as always, tell them that the fellas here at the Christian Principles Podcast sent you.
Tonight, we're going to talk through an article. We're going to talk through just off the cuff, off the top of our head, thoughts that we've had. One of the things that brought us to this point, and again, Matt said this has been percolating for a while in your minds. I'll let you tell your story about why that is. Um, Much as it is, I don't want to point out, I don't want to, necessarily make fun of or point out, but our mutual brother-in-law is now the pastor of Faith Baptist Church in Salisbury, Maryland, and that mutual brother-in-law he is of Yoakum stock, and the child has never had to worry about his weight one iota. In fact, he
Never.
probably has to worry about gaining weight, and
Yeah.
that, or like just making sure he has meat on his bones. He's one of those kind of guys,
He's got to be
And
able to overcome gravity.
yeah, it's like that's the sole requirement.
Yeah.
So, thinking of the Baptist pastor, we often think of the Baptist pastor. I heard a Baptist pastor once say, "Well, you know what the belt on a Baptist pastor is, right? It's the fence around a chicken graveyard. We think the stereotype is the large. Well, that was a good one, wasn't it? Well, it wasn't
That
me. I'm just repeating the joke, so it's
was
fine.
good.
It's fine. So that's our stereotype, and we don't want to perpetuate the stereotype. Not because it isn't funny, but because we want to. And one of the first things we'll get to, we do want to model for those we are leaders of what would be appropriate in the way we appear, than our healthy living. I said the way we here appear. That's not what I want to say. But our weight, our presentation to the people around us, it matters, and people will those around us and those who follow us will absolutely be looking to us for cues in that way, one way or the other. And shoot, sometimes we might even be in charge of a health class or a PE class, or might be a coach, get thrown into something, and it could be a problem for us. if, we're not, if we have to teach a health class and we are obviously not modeling that very well, that could be a real issue. What do you
Or
want to
we
say?
could be hosting a podcast talking about weight. And I know what you people that are at least watching this are thinking. Like, it's good Mark's doing all the talking, because you know what? Matt opens his mouth, we're going to say, no way.
No.
Baloney.
No. I've actually never had bologna. Yes, I have. What am I
It's
saying?
okay.
I
It's
like
all right.
I like all the lunch meats. I'm a
Okay.
I'm a connoisseur of lunch meats. But
Bologna.
So, Matt, you had mentioned that this has long been something that you knew we were going to talk about. Why tonight? What has brought it to your attention, your thoughts more now?
Well, I'm just going to laugh through this all, because it's just like, man, this is, you know, we said leave no stone unturned
Yeah.
on this podcast. We're
Mhm.
exploring it all. And so I'm exposing it all. I'm fat, as Mark said. No.
Don't mind me. I'm just going to have my ice cream while I listen to you. Go ahead.
No, back in the origins of this podcast, the things that kind of went through our minds as we were thinking through, like, if I were to seek out a podcast, like, I would want to get encouragement and advice in these areas, and
Yeah.
not just the how to unify your lesson plans, not just how
Yeah.
to, all of that is plentiful, but how to stay strong physically through
Absolutely.
this is something that I longed for. And I'll kind of going back to even COVID times, the workout weight programs that made a killing off of COVID, because I'm sure all of us had
Sure.
our home gym sets, whatever. But my wife also got into a fitness company. I think actually, a little bit before COVID that she got into it. But we've always been a very active family. I've always been a very, and here's the other thing. We're talking about
farmer. You was a farm boy.
Yeah, I was a farmer, but we're talking about our mutual brother-in-law who's the stick. That was me all the way up into college.
Just think of a Bug's Life. A Bug's Life. That stick.
He's the walking stick. That's
He's the walking
exactly
stick.
who he is.
I'm the ladybug.
And I never had to worry about weight. Never had to worry about anything. Even through college, didn't have to really worry about it. Got married. That's where it all went downhill. I'm pretty sure that's
Thanks,
where
Jenny.
I just lost it. But
Stop.
I've always, even when I would gain, I would then, maintain. I would, it would just hold steady. And then we started having kids, put on more, those sympathy pounds, that we guys are obligated to do.
Absolutely.
And again, just sustain. And that's like with no regular exercise, no routines, the day I walk into a gym to work out is like, I have come to some kind of, this is not me. That's not what I do. And, I would much rather go out and throw hay bales than, stand around with sweaty people just, doing
Sweating.
stuff. But
yeah,
sweating. But, yeah. So, but but throughout COVID, like my wife was getting into these workout programs, said, I think you should do this and we can do it together. It's like, yeah, okay, let's do it.
Mhm.
And listen, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a health professional whatsoever, but I am telling you, the more I did these workouts, the more I committed to them, the more weight I gained.
Oh,
And
no.
I'm like, this is not the way this is supposed to happen. and and granted, this is also the time I'm starting as an administrator, and
Mhm.
I am spending a lot of time in the office. And when it was COVID time, you didn't go out, you didn't
Mhm.
go around. Even when we started school, like I kept my distance. I wasn't venturing the hallways as frequently as we typically do. And that is it's going to get you after a while. And
Sure.
so, last year, especially, I think with accreditation, it was even more stressful and other things. And
Mm.
it just gets to a point where you're looking at yourself and you're like, okay, something's got to give.
Mhm.
Something's got to change,
Sure.
because I can't I can't do this for myself. I can't do this for my family. I can't do this for my school. I need to make
Mm.
sure I'm there. Now, you said about getting dropped in as a coach. I got dropped in as a basketball coach last year. And
Mm.
believe me, when I said, "Okay, guys, get on the line," my natural instinct is I'm getting on the line with you
Mhm.
and you got to try to beat me.
Mhm.
And I think I maybe did it on the first practice, and I said, never again. Like, holy cow. Like, that's not even a motivation for the guys to like, where'd Mr. George go? It's like, whoa. And that's just new. I've never experienced that in my
Mhm.
life.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, we've, over the summertime, trying different things, doing different things. And it's just like, so we got to get on top of this. And I don't want to
Mhm.
go through another school year where it's just getting worse.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So that's why we're talking about.
I'm excited for I'm excited for your walking program. I know you stuck that
Yeah,
up, getting your
get
counter
my
in,
steps in.
get your steps in. In fact,
Yeah.
the first, as I often do in preparation for these shows, I just as Dr. Warren said, Googling is now out of, if you Google something, you're beyond. So I actually went to Perplexity, the
Yeah,
AI
the
tool that's
old
more
perplex.
researchy, and I said, find me some sources concerning school principles and healthy eating, or school principles and weight. And I put through several different queries. It wasn't just one. And then I went back and just did some good old fashioned Googling. And Matt, there's just not much out there. There's really
Nothing.
basically nothing out there that's easily readily top of the search return that has to do with excuse me, not Christian school principles, but just principles and healthy eating. Most often it's talking about principles setting the tone for a lunch program. So, what we want to get to tonight are just some very specific things that we have done, whether or not we've done them successfully forever, but things that we know we ought to do and that we have done in the past to promote healthy living, and specifically as it concerns with food, weight, and exercise, and that translation into our weight. And we get that we are men. We get that we are talking about this as younger men. We used to be. I don't know where we are now.
I don't
Not
know.
quite
I'm
middle
starting
aged
to
men.
feel it.
Yeah. What we get, we have not had the privilege of having birth occur through us. We get that we're very qualified in this. So, as with before, please hear us out and enjoy what you can, take the tips you can, and tell us where we're wrong or tell us what we're going to improve otherwise. But if we're going to just give practical thoughts as to what we know we should do in our schools, one of the easy ones is making sure that when a student comes to us, when the when we know Valentine's Day is coming, Christmas is coming, the parties are coming, or just the first day is coming, people want to drop off we have got to have an accountability partner set up in the office that smacks our hand when that donut box appears. And for
Put that
me,
donut
is
down.
smack it right out my hand. But for me, it is and was and always will be the Boston cream donut, or even the Boston cream fake out cream filled donut from Dunkin' Donuts, or from anywhere. Shoot, it doesn't matter. Just any donut. My goodness, like I would absolutely crush several of those. and not think about it. And that's just on my way to my class or on my way to take a visit, to walk down the hallway, I'm going to have at least one of those. Knowing that food is going to come and having a plan for when that food comes in, knowing the food that I bring with me, knowing that I'm not going to be ordering out because shoot, there are so many faculty and staff members that order out, and we know that ordering out is not going to be the healthiest thing we could do. And making sure that I have enough packed with me, which is a problem because that's taking some preparation in the mornings or the night before, whatnot, to know that I'm going to snack healthy and eat healthy during that time of day. I think, really, honestly, when I went back into the classroom, I went back into the office setting, having not been in the office setting, that was easily identifiable as one of the most difficult parts of a weight gain fluctuation would have been knowing that what I consumed at school calorie wise was I can be on a losing weight diet, not diet. I can be on a losing weight calorie intake at like 2,200 calories, and that will drop me weight. And I know there's some people out there I've talked to that they get 700, and that's what they get to drop weight at, a pound a week or whatever it happens to be. But that for me was an easy. I know that this did make a difference. If I know if I cut it off, it'll make a difference. So we'll start here. Be very sure that you are aware of a path forward, perhaps having the accountability smack as we're talking about when you know that food's in the office or when that food happens to be in the office. Matt, do you want to throw anything else in there before I go to a second one
I was just going to
about
say,
that
like,
one?
when it comes to donuts and cupcakes in particular, like the old cut it in half,
Yeah,
eat one half, you can offer the other half to somebody else or just throw it away.
or the trash can.
With the
File 13.
cupcake, you take that top icing part and just get rid of
Yeah.
that. Eat the smaller part. That and oftentimes, like I found that I could easily say no to that every single time. But you always worry about walking past that child and they're like, "How was it?" Like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, it was great." And if you didn't eat it, you're definitely lying to the child.
Lying.
And I
I
don't want
have
to do that.
definitely
So
Yeah, I've
there's
definitely
that.
taken a little bit, like this, like pinch and had it. I've definitely
Yeah.
done that before. So,
Yeah.
but even take from this podcast that you're going to have a mindset of, I'm going to take a pinch so I don't have to lie, or I'm
Yeah.
going to just tell a child right away, hey, thank you so much. Not today. And I
Yeah.
will say, I did start doing that later on in my third year, in my second stint. I started doing that, and I never had one of those moments where a student like came back at me and said, "Well, why not?" It was more like, okay, and then they walked
Yeah,
away.
and
So
we
the
do
older
have,
ones
like,
knew I was fat anyway, so they're like, "Oh yeah, you
they're
definitely
just
shouldn't have
they're
it."
trying to feed it.
Yeah.
They were trying to like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, here you go, have another one, have another
Take
cookie."
another one. There you go, big boy.
Yeah. Now there are definitely those kids. It's like it's their birthday and they want to give everybody their
Yeah.
cupcakes, and you don't want to say no to one child, but we do have some that just will bring stuff in for no reason,
Sure.
and but even then, like I have let something sit on my desk all day. Like that never really is a issue for me. This is like, okay, well, that's got to go at some point, or somebody
Yeah.
else can have it. But yeah,
Another point to make here concerning when we walk into the school building with purpose, having thought through our food choices for the day, and we know what we're going to say no to, or we know what we're going to allow ourselves. We are going to allow ourselves to have that pinch of the cupcake or whatever, or the whole cupcake, whatever it happens to be. There's the same can be said for, we do a lot of event planning in these roles that we hold. We can go ahead and say to the faculty and staff, hey, listen, we're going to have a potluck and it's going to be a salad only potluck.
Yeah.
We're going to have when you sign up the start of the year and they ask you what your favorite candy bar is or whatnot, you can simply say, like, I really appreciate it, but I'd rather have this granola bar or whatever it happens to be that you would say is a equal replacement for the candy bar. We can take those steps and be confident that if that's what we know before God we have to do, because I'll be the first to admit it, no matter my weight, 270, 225, didn't matter. I was in the gym. I was, and I'm not a gym rat, but I definitely was at least a couple miles, at least a mile a day, and then throw a couple weight around sort of person am. I do it now because they have a kids club that's awesome, and I'm not, I can drop my kids off for an hour and then go run. I'm doing that. I'm doing that a lot, as much as I can, pretty much throughout my week. So I did that and was consistent in that. My mile running really didn't change that much. My food, it was completely wrapped up in the calories I partook of. And I know that. And I knew that I had to set those parameters even with my peers, because in my second installment, I was next to Meoni's. And Meoni's is God's gift to
That
pizza in Ocean
that's
City. It really
that is such a I mean, you are setting yourself up for
it
failure with
really
that one.
was. And every Thursday in the off season, which of course is a school season, it was half price cheese pizza. There's nothing, God made very little in this world that's better than cheese pizza. Just pizza, okay? And so I had to go into that day thinking, I know it's Thursday, and my good friend Janelle's gonna say, "Hey, let's go cheese pizza." I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes no matter what. So
Yes.
I have to prepare for that. I have to know what I'm gonna do, I have to think about one slice, buy the pizza because it's just as cheap as the one slice. Get the one slice and eat it. So it takes the intentionality. So be intentional about when calories are coming into contact with you. That's what helped me. That's what works for me. You said you weren't a gym guy, but that now you are walking, you are doing the basketball, you are finding ways of.
I don't know if you all can tell what is right immediately behind
Oh
me
yeah, been there
in my
forever.
studio. This is our exercise bike that I have used quite a bit.
Nice.
It
There
hasn't
you
been
go.
used in a while, but yes, that is right there as well. I am definitely I am a homebody.
Homebody in that way.
I love working out by myself, but
That's one of the things that my dad always did. He was usually in a gym somewhere, so I think that I got that, as my mom would say, I got that honest from
you
my
get that.
parents that
Yeah,
way.
get that bug. Yeah, here's the other thing, and I don't know. I probably need to do a lot more research into even just my body issues, but um, we food is definitely a place to start to understand your intake and everything. But my problem tends to be almost on the other side of it, where I'm not a breakfast eater. I never have really been a
Uh,
breakfast eater. So one of the most important things about breakfast I know is getting your metabolism going.
uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
and I, again, I've never struggled with metabolism, so I don't know if that's why, but I've never been a breakfast eater. And then I have found that as an administrator, I am ignoring lunch almost
Sure.
97% of the
Yeah.
school year. I am looking at the clock and, oh, it's 2:30 already. Well, okay, I can wait till after. And then you get
Uh-huh.
home, and actually after basketball, when I was doing basketball, getting home at 6 o'clock,
Uh-huh.
and dinner's really the first real food that I'm eating all day
Uh-huh.
long. And
Yeah.
then, of course, you got to have second dinner because I'm a hobbit, and you have whatever. But I do it in the nighttime, and of course, your body can't handle that in the evening unless you're working out in the evening as well and working it all off. So that I just know for me that has been the most difficult thing to overcome is helping my body out with
Uh-huh.
getting the proper number of calories, burning them off at appropriate time, and that just that balance that's
Uh-huh.
needed in the metabolism and getting that going as well.
Eating the 3 meal, they say you breakfast like a king, you lunch like a whatever, and then you dinner like a pauper. I think that's one of the colloquialisms out there, one of the sayings out there concerning food. Yeah, and so I absolutely am with you. Breakfast is definitely not my favorite, but I know breakfast has gotta be where it starts, and then I did find a lot of success with the Healthy Choice frozen lunches. If you're crunchy out there and you're listening, I'm very sorry about that, or if that, I don't wanna say offends because it's food, but, like, if that's something that you would stay away from, great, no problem, but I was able to turn around and see I'm eating 250 calories right now. And I know that the Healthy Choice Steamer Bowl is a good lunch that I enjoy it. I actually liked it, and I was not killing a calorie count or whatever. I could be no, it's like 250. I'm pretty sure, maybe 300,
Yeah.
400, whatever it is. So those healthy choice steamer bowls were an option for me, maybe been an option for you. As far as like we see the principal, like the famous principal on the social media right now who walks his school, right? He's in his cart. And Matt, you're working on getting a certain number of steps in a day. 10,000 steps in a day is what is recommended as far as what we're trying to reach. At 10,000 is a lot. It's 10,000 is for many of us, that could be a quadrupling of what a normal day would be, depending on where you are and what you're doing. But if we are looking to outside sources like that gentleman or whoever else to be, we could find ways of having those walk around meetings. I'm going to come find you. You don't have to come find me. I'm going to make an excuse to get up and go. And that could be something that many of us need to start to do more of. And hold that, Matt. You said you're going to keep your phone on you more, which would be
Yeah,
nice.
that's the real struggle. Like, I get the steps in, but I can't prove it because I've left my phone on my desk, and
Yeah.
that's what happens. Even today, like, I knew, I was like, I'm working towards my goal. I'm gonna crush it today, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have my phone again,
Again.
and yet I still don't have the moving sidewalks installed. So I had to put in the steps to go all the way back to my office to get it,
Well,
and it doesn't count.
speaking of technology and how it helps us, shameless plug for MyFitnessPal and actually tracking calories. There are certain things that are just completely they were not registering with me that, oh wait, that actually is how many calories? A spoonful of peanut butter is how many calories? And I put that on my, you know, whatever it happened to be, my Oreo at that time. Like I can't afford that. So it very much worked for me to know that this was my bar and I could stack up to it and stop. Planning before, they talk about meal planning. Meal planning is a thing. The
Meal
snack planning
planning.
is a thing.
Yeah.
Counting out my calories into little baggies before I got to school, that was absolutely a thing. It is, should still be a thing. As far as finding people, we're not going to be open about this in our life with everybody. I get that. It's probably going to be our spouse, and our spouse who loves us unconditionally may or may not be the most healthy advocate for us in that way, but maybe there is a friend, peer, or your worst enemy who's willing to say whatever they want about you. Finding somebody to be that accountability partner can be hugely helpful. There's a text thread amongst three guys right now. It's died off recently, but it's still there. It's still consistent on my phone of just registering what we're doing day by day, athletically, physically, whatever it happens to be. What are we getting in, especially at the gym, putting some notes down what we did at the gym. So perhaps that accountability is useful for you. And the article that I found out there from the National Association of Elementary School Principals, which talks at least somewhat about healthy principles, specifically not just so much out there on mental health. And that's definitely a part of it. Not saying it's not. But for what we're talking about tonight, actually, rubber meets the road, trying to talk about calorie counting and weight and things like that. This was one of the few that actually talked about going and finding somebody who would be some kind of accountability partner for you, but also, as Matt said earlier, getting to know what your needs are specifically. Go and pay for that one-time sit down with the trainer at the gym, or
Mhm.
go and have a lot of times. One of our good listeners would tell you right now that her insurance covers one of the new apps that's available for healthy living, and there is free communication with the nutritionists as part of that app's subscription. So through her insurance company, she has access to a nutritionist. So it could well be that whatever that cost is would be useful for you to sit down with that nutritionist and to make yourself stronger in that way. We haven't really couched all this in scripture, but we don't have to go that far. I'm thinking about this live.
Yeah.
Like we don't
Yeah.
have to go that far to think
No.
about to find very real, um, very biblical principles to guide how we eat. In fact, when you look at Christian leadership and food, there are a lot of articles that talk about that, and especially eating closer to nature and eating around the edges of the grocery store, or just eating your own garden, whatever it happens to be in that way. So, of course, being mindful of what we are, being intentional, being mindful for what we are consuming. But I'll go back to end this where we started. It's very meaningful for me to remember that I'm being looked at, not just because I'm large as an individual, but as that father, as the older brother, as the deacon, as the school leader, as the teacher up front, as the PE teacher, I'm being watched. And it should be meaningful to me that people are looking at me, not just hearing me, not just listening to the wisdom pouring out of every pore of my being, but they're looking at
So
me
much fun.
physically. And
Yeah.
they are going to remember that that guy who taught us health had no business teaching us health because
Right.
because his belt could barely keep it in. And that's a problem, so to speak.
Yeah.
So,
Here's the other side of that, because, you know, we do need to make sure that we're pursuing to be a good example, but apart from other people looking at me, I'm looking at me.
mm,
This is something that we are self-conscious about, I'm sure,
sure. Mhm,
if it gets out of hand
mhm,
and we are just can't focus on things because it's like, oh, I can't believe my gut is sticking out as far as it is right now.
mm,
All this kind
mhm,
of stuff
mhm.
is 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 something else that's on our mind that is just not helping.
Absolutely.
and
You nailed
and
it.
when you
That's
can
yep.
remove that,
Mhm,
as a distraction for me and a distraction for them, as you said, like it just that's one more thing off the plate, pun
mhm.
intended.
Well said. We shouldn't push this much further. We're already going so long. We definitely told our stories tonight. We're being intimate this evening with you. I say the evening. We're
Very.
recording this later, but
Yeah.
we're letting you in tonight. Perhaps even more interestingly, more here than we have elsewhere. You don't know my address, but now you know how tall I am and how much I weigh. So there's only a few of
Yeah.
you out there in that way. Well, let's move on to our Christian Administrator Spotlight. Tonight is going out to Christy Stevenson. Christy Stevenson is of King's Classical Academy in Livermore. I would say liver
Livermore.
less. Let's go
Livermore.
less liver in our lives. Liver less, liver more, California. So, Christy, I'm going to pray for you tonight, and thank you for your work out there at King's Classical Christian. Okay, Father in heaven, you know our deepest, inmost thoughts. We live in the culture we live in. We strive to be more like Christ every day, and that includes the self denial, the physical stewardship, and everything else that goes into that ball. Um, we ask for Christy specifically that she would be blessed in her health and in her relationship to calorie intake and to exercise and how that would affect her and her relationships and her students as it would be for every one of us. So may she have a godly viewpoint. May she be able to direct others to a similar biblical godly viewpoint. And may she find the strength, if it, I don't know this woman, but to make changes if she wants to make changes or needs to, or to continue down the path that she is on if she is on that healthy path. And well, thank you for giving us the same strength that you gave Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the same strength that you gave David, the same strength that you gave Paul, and all the rest. Lord, give us the same, and we'll thank you and praise you for it because we know that there is no temptation that's taken us, but such as is common to man, that you will be faithful to help us through it. We love you. We thank you for Christy, and may her school year continue strong as it has begun. Amen.
Amen.
All right, folks, this has been a long one, but we're gonna get off the airwaves now. Thanks for growing with us tonight. Thanks for growing smaller with us tonight.
Before you go, please be sure to hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, on Spotify, be sure to tap the star icon near the top and select the number of stars you'd like to give us. We'd be so grateful for 5. On Apple Podcasts, scroll down to the ratings and review section and then tap write a review to share your thoughts of the podcast. Thank you.